Hello, this is Judy Bartkowiak here from NLP and EFT Kids. I'm the author of Understanding Children and Teens, a practical guide for parents, teachers, and coaches, and Empower Your Kids, a coaching guide for parents, as well as a number of other books. Uh, Be a Happier Parent with NLP, which was written a few years ago, but the concepts are still pretty much the same. And the Engaging NLP series of workbooks, which are specifically for children, tweens, teens, parents, new mums, and so on. As well as that, I run a coaching practice working with children and teens in Berkshire, in the UK. And I train mostly existing practitioners, existing NLP practitioners who want to work with children and teens. Although I do also run a number of programs for parents and for people wanting to learn about NLP or EFT. So I do an awful lot to help parents and children, really, because that's always been my passion. So today I want to talk about self-esteem, partly because I seem to have had quite a few clients in the last sort of 10 days, really, who really have been quite specifically experiencing low self-esteem. And so I thought I would actually open a book that I wrote again a few years ago called the Self-Esteem Workbook, which is about assessing where you are now, setting goals you want to achieve, take practical steps to improve, monitor your process, and get to where you want to be. So it's called the Self-Esteem Workbook. And I'm going to try not to read from here because I've had some feedback from some of you to say that you can really tell when I'm reading and when I'm actually just chatting to you. So I shall try to do a combination of the two. So first of all, just want to run you through, what is self-esteem? So I would say that it's the extent to which you feel you're okay, a valuable person in your own right. Sort of how you feel about yourself in terms of all aspects, really, your physical appearance, how well you do at school, at work, at sport, how you connect with other people, how things are going for you at home, with your family, and so on. And what I like to do with children and teens, and you might like to introduce this with your family, is to get them to sort of be aware of that and calibrate it. And what I mean by calibrate is to actually, when they get up in the morning, to say how well they feel about how the day is going to go, how positive they feel, how good they feel about themselves. Give themselves a little score or something out of 10, like, I'm 5 out of 10, feeling confident about myself at the moment, or it could be I'm 8 out of 10, or whatever. And to sort of track that during the day, to be aware of where are the low points, where are the high points. My daughter's currently training, well, she's actually just got to the end of her course now, in nutrition and homeopathy and life coaching. And she's really got fascinated by the whole nutrition thing. She's already very much into her fitness. And I've learnt really from her to be aware of that point, really, during the day where you think, actually, I need to have a banana, or I need an apple, or I need some water, or just to be conscious of where you are, sort of to be body conscious. But here I'm talking also about being mentally conscious of whether you're feeling quite good or actually you're feeling a bit low. And when we're conscious of where we are, we can do something about it. So we can either do some tapping. As you know, I'm very much into the tapping. So say if you're feeling a bit low in self-esteem, you can actually just get stuck in there and, use your dominant hand on the side, on the karate chop point of your less dominant hand, or your other hand even, because we do only have two, don't we? And you can tell this is very spontaneous and non-scripted. And tap there and say, even though I'm feeling a bit low in self-esteem at the moment, I love and accept myself anyway. you have these times, don't you? You can't be super confident and super full of self-esteem all the time. And then just tap a couple more times, even though I may be feeling a bit low at the moment and not terribly full of, the joys and so on. I love and accept myself anyway. Or even though I'm feeling actually quite grim and quite low in self-esteem right now, I know this will pass, and I love and accept myself anyway. And you do this sort of setup, and obviously this is described in the books I've mentioned, certainly the ones that I've had published in the last couple of years, which is the Understanding Children and Teens and the Empower Your Kids one. And if you go to my YouTube channel, which is NLP EFT Kids, at least I think it is, you'll find loads and loads of videos there. If you're not quite sure, just message me. I'm on Instagram at NLP Kids. You can do a direct message there, and I'm all over Facebook. Okay, so calibrate and take action. That's a really good thing to do. So only you are the judge of your self-esteem. I've had people say to me, oh, you're so confident and so on. And yes, I am quite confident. But actually, is confidence the same thing as self-esteem? Yes, I can speak at a conference. I often do. I can give webinars. I can speak to you here. And I have absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. But do I always feel high self-esteem? No, of course I don't. And I don't suppose any of us do really all the time. Of course, one has one's low moments. Those times when you say, "Oh my," when you've said the wrong thing. I'm always putting my foot in it with the kids, and then realise that I shouldn't have said what I've just said, or I've done something, said something, or whatever, and so. Only you really know how your self-esteem is doing at any one point in time. So even though somebody might say, "Oh, you seem to have good self-esteem," or whatever, just be aware that it's you really that knows. So just bear that in mind and check in with yourself. I often think that we don't do that enough, to use that inner knowing, that intuition, rather than taking what other people say. It's important to judge for yourself. And I do find that a lot with teens, that they're sort of looking to others to affirm them and to say, "Oh, your hair looks nice," or "Your skin looks good," or "I like that dress or that top," or something like that. They look to their peers for reassurance that they're okay, as opposed to actually just checking in with themselves. So self-esteem is a feeling. It can change, as I say, over the course of the day, over the week, over the month. It can change, with your monthly period. It can change with sort of who you're with, what you have to do, and various stresses and things. So it's not a fact. It's not a fact that you have this, or you have high self-esteem or low self-esteem. It's a very fluid thing that can depend really on the situation at the time. So it is important to check it out with yourself, monitor it, and take action when it drops. So here are some of the feelings and thoughts that you might experience that will be like a highlight, that will note to self, "Oh, that's a bit of low self-esteem then." So here are some of the ones that I feel and I hear. "I can't do this, I'm useless," or "Everyone else is better than me." Well, no one seems to listen to what I say. I often find that with the family, don't you? "Why do people keep criticizing me? I'm just a whatever. I'm just a mum. I'm just a whatever." So when you're putting yourself down, we tend to use the word "just." So if you do find yourself using that word, just stop yourself and say, "Hang on a sec. Why am I minimizing this? And why am I minimizing who I am?" We can use the word "just" in other ways as a really good thing. So, for example, if I'm playing tennis and I do a double fault, You just say, exactly, there you go, there's an example. Oh, it's just one double fault. I guess if I was playing at Wimbledon, that might be a little bit more serious than just playing club tennis as I do. So the word just can be used to deliberately minimize something that you don't want to focus too much on. But it might be something that we're using subconsciously and inadvertently when we're actually minimizing who we are. And especially when you say, "Oh, I'm just a mum," or something like that, or "I'm just a whoever." I hear that quite a lot, and actually, I think it's the hardest job in the world. So here are some of the ways that you can change those thoughts. You can reframe them, you can switch them to something a little bit more affirming, self-affirming, and more positive. So when you say, my views are important, people listen when I speak. When I make a mistake, I don't mind admitting to it. I'm okay with how I look. I get on pretty well with most people. I think it's important to be yourself. So when you know what the thoughts are that tend to be your thoughts that trigger your low self-esteem, switch it round to what you want to feel. And that's a really good thing to do first thing in the morning, to set affirmations. Today I'm going to get on well with everyone. Today I'm going to be friendly to everyone. Today I'm going to feel confident about how I look. Today I'm going to, be conscious of what I eat and how I pace myself during the day. So here's an exercise that you might like to do, just to sort of give yourself some scores, and then maybe work on some of these things, and then just check back at your scores. So here's the list. How well do you take criticism? That's, give yourself a score out of 10 as to how well you take criticism. I used to be awful at this, but I have to say that with learning about NLP and all of the sort of feedback stuff, and the way that one can learn from criticism or from feedback, from reviews and so on, I'm completely different now. But certainly there was a time in my life when criticism was a real challenge for me. So if it is for you, maybe you can work on that and look on how you could use that to sort of improve or to do things better next time. Do you feel valued by your colleagues or those you interact with daily? How often do you say what you really think, or do you just agree with the majority view? A lot of the clients I work with really struggle with boundaries and find it very difficult to say no. And unfortunately, that's one of those things that can lead to conditions and to disease, in fact, when we are unable to say no. Do you get what you want from your relationships? Do you take it personally when someone doesn't agree with you? Are you envious of what others have and think they're doing better than you? Do you sometimes feel unloved? Do you feel embarrassed about your appearance? Do you sometimes feel like a victim? Do you feel you're not good enough? So those might be areas to look at if you've got some low scores. It's quite normal, as I said, to sort of for your day to vary across the day and different weeks and so on. And that's quite a good thing as well, to plot that. So another exercise is to keep a diary, excuse me, and keep a note of your self-esteem, as I said, out of 10, and then notice what happened. What happened just before it dipped. So if it sort of started off quite well, then it dips during the day, then look at that at some point during that. What happened just before that? Was it that somebody looked at you like they were a bit cross with you, or was it that you couldn't do something? And just write down what was the thought that you had at that time. And a really good way to work on that is then to really challenge that thought. Is this a fact that this happened, or is it a fact that that they meant this? Did I catastrophize? Did I dramatize? Did I generalize? Did I distort it in some way? Would anybody else, having been in the same situation, have made it mean the same thing? Is it a pattern? And if it's a pattern, you can when you bring something to awareness, it means that we can work on it and change it and do something about it. So I'm going to leave you with that. I think you've had enough of my voice. I'm just going to leave you to sort of ponder that. If you feel you'd like some help with your self-esteem, then obviously the book, the Self-Esteem Workbook, would be a good place to start. I mean, it's full of loads of exercises, masses of exercises actually, and places to write things in. It's very much a workbook. It's not just loads and loads of text. It's loads of exercises, things you can write down, things that you can work through. I also run a self-esteem course on an individual basis with clients, focusing specifically on self-esteem. And although there's the book and the course, they aren't the same. Obviously, the book is the book. With the course, it's done very much on for your own experiences, your own circumstances, your own memories and key events in your life that might have triggered your low self-esteem. So they are quite different. If you want specific attention to your own issues, then obviously the course with me on an individual basis is the better one to book. But I do offer a free 30-minute chat. In fact, I've just done one this morning, which was very enjoyable and I think helpful for the girl I spoke to. So you can use that opportunity to have a chat to me about how I can help. So I'll leave you with that and speak soon.